Okay, is that all that's in the waiting room, Jasmine?
Amelia Green is the only one, and it's noted that Amelia Green is not known by James, and so I will not admit Amelia Green.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started since we are pressed for time at this point.
Derek, is that you, Derek? Okay. James, do you know a Derek?
Derek who?
There's not a last name. They're in the room.
No, I don't know that person.
I've removed them and they've been reported. So Tootie, you're good to go. Every time I will interrupt and ask for the name of the person.
All right, thank you. This hearing is to consider the status of James Vivian for a disciplinary matter. It is being held on January 29th, 2025 at 1:15. The panel is sitting to hear the facts and make a recommendation to the Cabrillo College administration. This hearing is being recorded. Please speak clearly and loudly to ensure an accurate record of this proceeding. I am Tootie Olson, and I am a member of this panel representing administration. I am the chairperson of this hearing. The other panel members will now introduce themselves. Please state your name and whom you represent.
I'm Dr. Ginger Charles, and I represent faculty on this committee.
I'm JD, and I'm representing the classified.
I'm Sydney, and I'm a student rep.
All non-panel participants who are present, please state your name and your role in this hearing.
Michelle Donahue, Dean of Students, representing the district.
Deputy Malgoza, representing the district witness, as a witness.
Derek Gross, custodial supervisor, district witness.
Jasmine Northcutt, timekeeper and recorder.
Okay, and then all witnesses here for James, please state your name.
Crystal, looks like you're unmuted first. You can go.
Okay, my name is Crystal Palayo. I'm a neighbor of Jim's. I've also volunteered with him, and I also ironically have a student that attends the campus over there. I'm a special needs mom as well. I don't know if that matters.
Thank you. And then Mary, please go.
Hi, I'm Mary Williams. I'm here as a character witness for Jim Vivian. My husband, Lawrence Takvorian, had intended to be here, but he was called away by an emergency. He's a family friend whom I've known since the 1990s.
Okay, thank you. James, is there anyone on this hearing panel that does not include the district or their witnesses that you have met previous to this hearing that you believe would not give you a fair hearing? If yes, please state who it is, and if you would like that person to be dismissed from the panel.
Yes, Michelle Donahue, Luis Melgoza.
So both of those, Michelle Donahue is the district and Luis Melgoza is the witness. So the panel would be JD, would be Ginger Charles, and would be Sydney, the student rep, and myself.
I don't know any of you.
Okay, so great. We're going to keep going. Technical rules of evidence shall not apply at this hearing, but relevant evidence may be admitted only if it's the kind of evidence upon which reasonable persons are accustomed to rely on in the conduct of serious affairs. I'm not an attorney. However, I will be ruling on objections made during the hearing. I will not rule until each side has had an opportunity to express its position with regard to the objection. I may consult off the record with other members of the panel, representatives of the Cabrillo College district, and the student prior to making a ruling. Everyone in this hearing is reminded that this hearing and all matters pertaining to it are strictly private. Today, we will be reviewing highly sensitive information. We request that everyone respect the privacy of all of the parties involved in these incidents. Any behavior demonstrated as part of this hearing that can be interpreted as retaliatory, harassment, bullying, or intimidation will be adjudicated as a separate disciplinary matter. Each side will be given an opportunity to make a brief 2-minute opening statement. The purpose of this statement is to define each side's position and the evidence which it intends to present to support that position. These statements are not evidence, and there will be no discussion of the opening remarks. Following the opening statements, the district and the student, supported by the advisor and witnesses properly disclosed and called at the appropriate time, shall appear before the panel to present evidence. Each side will have 10 minutes maximum for its presentation. There will be an opportunity for clarifying questions and or rebuttal of evidence by the student and the district. Panel members will also have the opportunity to ask clarifying questions to the reporting party, witnesses, and the Santa Cruz County Sheriff. After all evidence has been submitted, each party will have the opportunity to make a 2-minute closing statement. All time limits will be strictly enforced. This hearing is closed to the public. Dr. Donahue, do you wish to make an opening statement?
Chair Olson, I do.
You have 2-minute maximum for your opening statement.
Thanks so much. I want to thank members of this panel for your time and opening up your availability to be here today before the college opens for the start of the spring semester. I also want to thank you for preparing for today's hearing and reading all of the information provided. As this board is aware of our Cabrillo College disciplinary processes, we are convening today because a Cabrillo student was issued a 626 notice by the Santa Cruz Sheriff's Office as a result of an incident, indicating that they are not allowed on campus until a disciplinary hearing is scheduled to review their disruptive behavior. Based on a report submitted by Deputy Luis Melgosa, James Vivian has allegedly violated the following student code of conduct. Number 5, causing or attempting to cause damage to district property or to private property on campus. 12, engaging in intimidating conduct or bullying against another student or employee through words or actions. Number 14, disruptive behavior, willful disobedience, habitual profanity or vulgarity, or the open and persistent defiance of authority or persistent abuse of college personnel. 16, unauthorized entry upon or use of college facilities. Number 18, engaging in expression which is obscene, libelous, or slanderous, or which so incites students to create a clear and present danger. Number 19, persistent serious misconduct where other means of correction have failed to bring about proper conduct. You will hear from 2 district witnesses that will substantiate the alleged violations. First, Derek Gross, custodial supervisor, will share important background on behalf of his employees. Deputy Melgosa will follow up with additional information about his response and who served James a 626 notice. I will take your recommendations for the district's judicial outcomes. Thank you.
James, do you wish to make an opening statement?
James, you are muted. I'm not sure if you're speaking because your camera's off, but you're muted.
Hello, can you see me now?
We cannot see you. Do you wish to make an opening statement?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a 2-minute maximum for your opening statement.
Yes, I'm a student on campus. I was an active student in the summer quarter and in the fall quarter on taking on campus classes. I have every right to be on campus. I paid my student fees to use the campus. I can be anywhere on campus at any time anything's open as any other student can, but I keep getting accused of not being a student, and that's not true. And I have never violated any rules on campus. I have never done any kind of littering. As a matter of fact, I often pick up trash on campus. I put all the things I pick up in the correct bin. They have a compost and organics bin in the cafeteria. They have other bins all around campus. Sometimes they have paper separated from cans and bottles, so the paper stays clean and dry, so that's good. And I always separate all the trash I pick up, which is not usually anything I dropped. If I do drop something, I pick it up. Whatever I pick up, my trash or somebody else's, I put in the proper bin. That's not littering to put something in the proper bin. I've never littered on campus. I don't think I've ever littered in my adult life. Purposeful, most definitions of littering say you've got to be doing it on purpose for it to be littering. on somebody else's property or public property.
James, you have 10 seconds.
So these allegations are vague, and there's nothing about them that's true.
Time is up.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Donahue, you may present evidence, documents, and witnesses within the following time limits, a 10-minute maximum. There will be a time for questions for each witness after they have presented their information. You may now proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Chair Olson. So the panel has received the one document on behalf of the district, and that is Deputy Luis Mocosa's report, and just report it. I'm going to introduce Derek Gross first, and then as soon as Derek is finished, because of the time constraints, Deputy Mogosa will jump in. The district, I know, has 10 minutes to present witnesses, and we will take full 10 minutes with our 2 witnesses. So Derek, please share your information.
All right, well, my custodian that was assigned to 900 had recently come to me saying that he was having some issues with a student or a person within the cafeteria about he would clean a certain event area, he would let the people know in the area, and then they would continue to go in those areas after he's already explained that he's already cleaned those areas. And we kind of do that due to time constraints for our custodial crew to clean at night. And we tried to leave the cafeteria open as long as the last class is still going. Once the class is over, we shut down the building due to the time constraints to clean the entire campus. So on 12/5/24, I got a call in my office that a person was in the cafeteria kind of taking water from one area to another, dripping it all over the floor, which he had just cleaned, and that was creating a slip hazard. He talked about having to close the cafeteria. The person wasn't too happy about it. So I called Deputy Luis to have him investigate, just go over there, talk to the student, talk to the person, and, kind of diffuse the situation. And then I got a call about 10 minutes later from a lead custodian that Mr. Vivian had gone and talked to the custodian right up in his face, and that it was not we saw the video online and stuff, that he just went out there and, are you the one that made this? He said yes, and then just kept putting the phone in his face. So, and that's where it went. And that's where I got the report from Luis that he went back up there.
Deputy Mogosa, please feel free to add your information. Thanks for you both for being here.
You're welcome. And I apologize. My voice is a little bit raspy because I've been coming out through a cold, but hopefully you guys can hear me. So yes, as Derek explained, on 12/5/24, I did get a phone call from him regarding a person that was causing issues in the cafeteria. Once I got to the cafeteria, I contacted the employee who informed me that a particular student who has a history of spilling food or disobeying orders basically when they close certain areas because they mopped the area, they tell students to stay away. This particular student, when even after he was told that the area was closed because they recently mopped or they recently cleaned, basically ignored those commands to stay away from the area. Not only that, but he usually became verbally aggressive towards staff, basically saying that he was a student, that he paid his tuition, his fees, that basically he was entitled to do whatever he wanted on campus. After I learned this information, I went inside the cafeteria and I contacted Mr. Vivian. I explained to him, hey, this is the information I'm getting. I'm just trying to bring it up to your attention, because if that's the things, those are if the things that you're telling me are actually accurate and it's constantly happening, you're just bringing attention to yourself. So I'm letting you know that if you can just stop making a mess in the cafeteria. And even before I even started talking to him, he basically became verbally aggressive towards me. He asked, what was my name, my badge number, basically what the purpose of me was in regards to me contacting him. After I explained the reason behind it, I'm like, well, this is what I received. I'm just gonna drive away. I did ask him about his vehicle because we did have a previous incident earlier in the year. It was in July 28th where uh, 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 security officer Smith and Deputy Paul Van Horsen contacted Mr. Vivian down in the parking lot near the SAC West, the Welcome Center. And basically, he was out there cooking some food, and they experienced the same situation where they approached him right away with badge. What's your name? What are you doing here? Basically became verbally aggressive towards them. And they're like basically telling him that what he's doing is not allowed on campus. And that was the same response. So that's the reason why I brought up the whole thing with his vehicle. Um, and after that, I left because I was hoping that me addressing the issue with him, that was going to be the end of it. So I drove down, and then later on, I get a phone call again from Derek saying that things are escalating up in the cafeteria where Mr. Vivian's confronting staff and basically recording them, asking them if they were the people that filed the complaint against them. So at that point, I responded back to the cafeteria where I contacted Mr. Vivian. Same thing. He was verbally aggressive. I explained to him based on his behavior that I was going to issue him a 626.4 form to keep him away from campus because the behavior that he was displaying, his aggression towards staff, was unacceptable, and therefore, I believe that if I didn't issue that, things were going to escalate to a different point where it can end up physical. Towards the end of it, Mr. Vivian's explained that he was assaulted by a staff member. I tried to ask Mr. Vivian if he can tell me about the incident. His response was, I don't have to tell you anything, and basically walked away. So that's my interaction with him. And that's the background that I have regarding Mr. Vivian and the reports that I got from Derek and other staff.
Thanks, Deputy Melgosa. Chair Olson, the district yields the rest of our time for our presentation. We're finished, and thanks for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much. James, you now have the opportunity to ask clarifying questions and or rebuttal for the district or any of their witnesses. There is a 6-minute maximum to ask questions of the district or their witnesses, and panel members are not included in the district and their witnesses. So you have 6 minutes.
So, Deputy Melgosa, when you say I was verbally aggressive, you said you consider asking for your name and badge number verbally aggressive. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, sir. The tone of voice, I even addressed with you when you were basically screaming at me. I asked you, like, why are you screaming at me? And your response was, it's my First Amendment right. I can do whatever I want. So I explained to you, I understand that, I understand you're expressing your First Amendment right, but I'm talking to you as a normal person. I'm not sure why the purpose of you elevating your voice towards me was necessary.
Okay, so you're saying you were talking to me as a normal person. I think you were very aggressive and accusatory, and you didn't do what you're saying. You just say you were being told stuff by other people. You came out and accused me of stuff and then said you knew I did it because they told you so. And you must have made a body cam video of all this, right? So do you have that body cam video for us to see and hear? And so we can hear all these things you're claiming?
The body camera video is saved in our drive. If you were interested in seeing that video, basically what you have to do is you have to go through the process. You have to contact our CSI division. I can't just disclose the video. So it has to be requested. So if that's something that you wanted, that's something that you can request with our CSI and go through the process to obtain that video footage. But that video, it is safe.
Okay, how come the video I made completely contradicts what you're saying?
I don't know, sir.
Well, how would that be possible?
Oh, in what way?
Unless what you're saying is not true.
In what way does it contradict what I'm
Watch
saying?
the video. Why compare it to what you just said?
Okay, I did watch my body worn camera, so
Okay, well, obviously you're being very disingenuous, and I certainly did not. You're the one who walked away, laughed and walked away when I reported the assault and battery to
So
you.
James, this portion, since it's so short, you only have the opportunity to ask questions. This isn't, it can't really be like this back and forth between you and one of the district reps. You can ask questions of them, they can answer them, you can move to a question again. But it's not really appropriate during this time. So if you have another question for Deputy Melgoza, you can ask him a question.
Yes, you said you gave 62.4 order. I believe you mean 626.4 notice. Doesn't that notice say the maximum you can keep a person off campus is 14 days, yet you put it down for keeping me off campus for 24 plus days?
I can answer that question. That's not Deputy Melgoza. So you're correct, James, that the notice says 14 days. The college was closed and reopens on Monday, February 3rd. And so obviously we were not able to seat a panel until the college reopens. So we were able to get our panel seated for you today. It would have been earlier, right? I know you had asked for a postponement, but we basically, no one was on campus and the campus has been closed until February 3rd. So there was not we didn't have the ability to bring a panel and sit a panel until the week before classes started because faculty do not return until the last week of January.
Those are some unbelievably ridiculous excuses. I have a question for you, Dr. Donahue. When you received the notice from me and my attorneys and the rest of us by email that the notice given to me was beyond the jurisdiction, did you do anything to correct that, or did you just extend the time for me to be off campus without giving me any reasons until more than 4 weeks after the incident took place?
Our process that's outlined in the Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbook is that a student cannot return from a 626 withdrawal from campus by the sheriff's office without a disciplinary hearing. And I mentioned that in my introduction today for the hearing.
Did you ever notice that the 626 rule law in California has a maximum of 14 days? And that was brought to your attention several times. What did you do about that? How did you remedy that?
I have familiarity with the 626 notice. It's part of our collaboration with the sheriff's office. And once the 14-day stay away order is completed, I did communicate with you that we would not be able to return until we had a disciplinary hearing. So that came from the college on behalf of the Dean of Students office to tell you that we would be able to allow you to return once we've had a disciplinary hearing to determine the outcome of the incident.
And did you tell me what the disciplinary hearing was about before January?
I think your notification was sent and all the panel members have a copy of that. It was sent to you twice, the one for your original disciplinary hearing date and the second one for today.
And were any of those sent before January 3rd, 2025?
Nope.
Is that beyond 14 days from December 5th?
Campus is still closed until January 6th.
There were events on campus. There were a holiday celebration.
Time is up. 6-minute time has concluded.
Okay, thank you. Panel members may now ask clarifying questions to the district representatives, the district representative and their witnesses. Panel members do not have a time limit to ask questions. Panel members, do you have any questions for the district? No. Okay, thank you. James, you may now present evidence, documents, and witnesses within the following time limits, a 10-minute maximum. There will be a time for questions for the student after they have presented their information. You may now proceed with your presentation.
Yes, I was doing nothing but peaceably and tidily eating in the cafeteria during open hours on December 5th. I was doing nothing but heating water to make tea and herbal tea and stuff like that. Back in July, when I was once again just using my own equipment, of the most efficient and safest equipment in the safest place, right near the entrance and exit of the underground parking garage, on using an electrical outlet that uses the same electricity as the rest of the campus, which I can use and I'm a student and pay my student fees. That's all I was doing. I'm an eco hillbilly squared, an economic and environmental hillbilly. I'm an environmentalist, so of course any hillbilly knows you don't heat things up inside during the summer. It was July, it was hot inside, air conditioned buildings. Why would and they're saying, for example, that I can't prepare food on campus. First of all, I wasn't preparing food, I was preparing water, heating it, boiling it in a very safe water boiler, which was my own. I wasn't putting any wear and tear on any campus or student government microwave ovens and all that, which are provided for, believe it or not, so people can prepare food on campus. The students can prepare food on campus. So these allegations are just ridiculous. I was never anywhere I was not allowed to be. When Deputy Melgoza came into the cafeteria around 8:41 on December 5th, 8:41 p.m., he said I needed to be out by 9 o'clock. I told him that another janitor told me the cafeteria is open till 9:30, but sometimes they lock it up earlier if they feel like it, the janitors. So I normally don't like to eat in the cafeteria unless it's really cold, and I can, I like I said, I'm in eco hillbilly squared. I don't even heat my house. I can make sure I keep myself cold, and I'd rather eat outside at the picnic table in front of the cafeteria. I don't want to get COVID. I don't want to get diseases that are more prevalent inside. But because they told me they locked the cafeteria at as early as 7:30. In the bathroom, I found locked outside as early as before 7:14 p.m., which could lead to people defecating on the ground somewhere on campus because they have no bathroom to use because the janitors are locking it. Okay. Of course, then I stayed in the cafeteria between 7:30 and 9:30 to make sure it didn't get locked. Now, I didn't stay in the cafeteria full time. I did walk outside, just outside the door, like to throw away recycling, especially cans if I had eaten using a can, to throw the cans in the recycling bin outside. The reason I usually did that is because I usually had a thermos of hot water with me, and before I put the can in the recycling bin, I rinse it out. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, and to rinse it out, I would go outside I would put a little water in it, in the can, then walk outside of the cafeteria onto the cement, right on where the elements are, and shake the can until it was rinsed out, drink the water that had, a little bit of whatever contents were in the can, and then throw the can away in the recycling bin for cans that is outside the cafeteria. That's right outside the door. That's only a few feet outside the door, so I could make sure nobody would lock the cafeteria while I'm supposed to have access to it, and I had my stuff inside. Now, I wanted to show you what I bring to the cafeteria with me that day. And you can see these in the videos that I made, which I posted on YouTube, which the panel should have seen. These are wipes these are the exact ones I had that day. I've saved them. I might have thrown some of them away if I wiped some of my stuff up, but I barely got a chance to eat that day because my activities were disrupted by Deputy Melgosa and these janitors and Lupe assaulting and battering me. And you'll see in the video, I have these two. I have this bag, which is a absorbent bag. So if I take this with me over to the water fill station where it says you can fill filtered water into your own jug. So anytime I do that, I carry this sack, which is absorbent, over to that water fill station to make sure no water drips if any water gets on the outside of the jug somehow. So it doesn't drip on the floor. So that is just a complete lie that I'm dripping on the floor. If I did go there one day when it was raining earlier in the day. It was not raining when I arrived, but it was still wet. There were puddles. There could have been drips off of trees. It's possible I could have gotten some on my clothes or something and dripped without knowing, but there was no rain days before December 5th. So that is not even an issue. I don't drip any of my own stuff. You'll see this like peanut butter jar empty. That is to protect my other jars that I use to heat the food and to drink. I have this jar.
James, I want to note that your camera is not on, and so everything you're presenting cannot be seen by the panel. I just want to make sure you have that information.
Okay, it's all in the videos I posted online. I in any case, I have drip jar. I have a drip containers. I have containers to protect the glass jars I use to heat the stuff because it's not safe to heat things in plastic jars in microwaves. I have metal lids for these two jars. I do not fill them very much when I put them in the microwave so they don't overflow. But when they're done heating in the microwave, I quickly screw the lid on the jar, on each jar, and then I lift up the jar out of the microwave and pop it into one of these two drip containers to keep me from dripping anything while I go to the table, which is right near that microwave. But the only part of that cafeteria I ever used, by the way, was that table near the microwave and wherever I had to walk in from. And wherever I had to walk out of, pretty much is all I ever used when the janitors are in there at night. They're rarely in there when I am. If that janitor who said yes, he told the sheriff I was making a mess. He said I was dripping all over the floor, yet the videos I took show no drips on the floor. That there was only one door propped open that night. It's the same one I went out on the video. It shows on me most of the floor on that video. It shows most of the floor on the other videos. There's no drips. There's no mess. There's none of that seen in the video because I didn't make any of that stuff. I clean up after myself completely every time I go to the cafeteria. Like I said, I clean up more than my own stuff. It's cleaner when I leave than it is when I came in. I don't drip. I have all kinds of things that are shown in my videos that I brought that night, December 5th, shown in my videos to make sure I don't drip on the floor. Okay, I'm a food volunteer. I give away food. I'm a water server. I do gray water recycling. I do water testing. I do all kinds of stuff. And by the way, can my witnesses get into this hearing? I requested an open hearing, and
James, they were allowed to speak any of this time
Okay.
during your 10 minutes, and I'm not sure how many minutes you have left. I just want it to be mindful that
You have 1 minute remaining, and your two witnesses are here and have introduced themselves. No one else is in the waiting room.
Crystal, you're
Jenny Gomez never joined.
He never joined. You have now 45 seconds.
So, I'm an environmentalist. I'm a conservator. I'm a water conservator. I'm a food conservator. I give away free food. I don't waste food. I don't drip anything on the floor. I don't make a mess. I clean up after myself. I clean up in public places all the time. I do all kinds of volunteer work in environmentalism, environmental cleanup. And it's just these allegations are just ridiculous and they're completely unspecific. There's nothing except quotations out of the student writes the full number without any editing, and then it says in parentheses by littering, which I didn't do. And
3, 2, 1.
and they're not true.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Donahue, you now have the opportunity to ask clarifying questions and or rebuttal for the student and or any of their witnesses. There is a 6-minute maximum to ask questions of the student or their witnesses. And panel members are not included in the student and their witnesses.
Thanks, Chair Olson. The district doesn't have any questions. Mr. Vivian, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Panel members may now ask clarifying questions of the student and their witnesses. Panel members do not have a time limit to ask questions. Oh, I feel like Dr. Ginger Charles, do you have a question?
So I guess the one question I was going to ask James is, would there be anything that you would do differently if this were to happen again? Or do you feel like you have no responsibility in this?
I didn't do anything whatsoever wrong. I would not have given my home address if I had to do this again. That's really the only thing I wish I hadn't done. I wish I wouldn't have given my local address, because I could have left it the other one. I'm obviously very afraid of, your staff members or your campus assault and battered me. They committed elder abuse. I'm 64 years old. They admitted to assault and battery according to the police report. Read the police report. It says that Lupe, who said he was lead custodian, admitted to hitting my hand that was holding the cell phone. I guess you can't see me, but if you could see me, you could see my cell phone that he hit is smaller than my hand. Okay, that's assault and battery under the law, and it's both a criminal violation, a misdemeanor, and a civil violation under California law. Assault and battery are two separate violations. Elder abuse, causing a false police report to be filed by me telling lies about me.
So James, you're saying that this individual hit your hand? Was that because you pushed the camera in their face, or they just happened to just willy-nilly hit you?
I was not pushing the camera in their face. I was making a recording, including their face, so I could identify this man who also, by the way, hit me with his truck, the door of his truck. That's a hit and run because he refused to identify himself or give me his registration and insurance information. That's hit and run in California.
You're saying that this individual that hit your cell phone also hit you with the truck?
That's correct. He didn't hit he says he hit my cell phone. He actually hit my hand and my fingers on my right hand. Mainly my two middle fingers took the brunt of the force.
And he hit you with a truck?
He hit me with the door of his truck, the driver's side door. He hit me in the face with the door of his truck. Did you watch the video?
Well, I'm not going to click on any link that's just, based on what we just saw here, I'm not going to click on any link, not knowing where it's going to lead me to. So unfortunately, I'm not going to do that.
So before what happened today, you didn't do that before the meeting to prepare.
I don't click on any unknown link from anyone other than the district.
So how do I present my evidence to the panel then?
I'm not arguing with you, period. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. And
I'll say a few things. James, I'm JD. I did review your video and I reviewed your evidence. I will also ask the same question. Like, if you had the opportunity to interact with any of this staff or any people that you were involved with, would you still approach them the same way, or would you still respond the same way? Or would you change any of the interaction? James, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I imagine I would do things slightly differently. they'll always do. If you do something again, you got to have the experience of doing it the first time. But like I'm saying, the main thing I can think of that I would do differently is not give the sheriff my local address.
Okay. So I did see the video. So just to get a little bit of clarification,
Well, one other thing I do differently, definitely is to make sure when I have a tablet and a cell phone. Unfortunately, the tablet has a cracked screen and it has like a mind of its own. And when I put it on video, all of a sudden the video shuts off, and a podcast that I had been listening to earlier came on. I definitely wish I would have noticed that, because it really interfered with listening to the sound on those videos. I was so preoccupied by the abuse being dished out on me, the abuse I was getting from the Deputy Melgosa, by the janitors, by the staff, by Lupe, that I didn't even notice that until I reviewed the videos later. I wish that I had noticed that right away, so I could either just shut down that podcast that you were playing in the background, or
I did
put
hear
it
the
back on
podcast.
video
Yeah.
correctly. But unfortunately, that just happened by itself, and I was so preoccupied by the abuse I was getting that I didn't notice.
I did hear the podcast in the background. I can still see part of the video. What I did notice on the video, James, was that in parts of your video, this is what I noticed, that there was proximity, right? You were getting very close to the faces of these individuals, that possibly it could have been that they felt like you were invading their personal space. So maybe their reaction was like, hey, I don't want to be recorded. They're in a workspace. So that could be a possibility on their end. But thank you for providing that evidence, and thank you for clarifying.
Lupe made a fist both times. He punched me. He missed once and knocked the video, the camera out of my hand, the cell phone out of my hand. He made a fist.
I saw,
both fists.
yeah. So James,
You can
I
see that
saw,
in the
I saw an
video.
open, I saw.
You
an
don't make a
open-
fist of your,
Okay.
you're just
Okay.
trying to.
I'm gonna have to stop the back and forth rebuttal. I'm sorry. The opportunity here is
Thank you.
JD is asking you a question. You can answer that part, but we've already done the back and forth of the presentation, so we have to stick on a script.
Yeah.
JD, did you have another question?
Oh, that's all. Thank you.
I just have one. When you say that you also were hit in the face with the car door, that sort of was, I was thinking that when JD was talking about possibly how somebody would have felt if you were in their personal space, for your face to get hit by a door, were you encroaching in their space as they were trying to get in the vehicle to leave the situation? You're muted. James?
James, if you're attempting to answer, your mic is muted.
That's simply not what happened. Lupe was sitting in the cab of his truck. He had pulled up right when I was talking to the other janitor, and the other janitor did stick his hand out, and you know, towards my camera, and I just moved the camera to the side, not more into his face, and you can see that from the video I took on the camera. Okay, that he can do that. He can stick his hand out with his palm. Yeah, I didn't object to that. I just moved my camera a little so I could get a picture of his face. These staff wear no name badges. They refuse to identify themselves. These perpetrators need to be identified. So of course I'm going to try to get a photo or a video of their face, because that is identifying and I need to identify them to report them for the crimes they were committing against me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
Finished. Okay. Lupe was sitting in his truck. He said, we don't want to be recorded. Stop recording us and put away your cell phone. Those are the things he said. Then when I got near enough to the truck to get a picture of his face, he violently attacked me, charged out of the truck. First, he punched my right hand with his left arm. Then that made me like bend down because I had to control, I was losing control of my cell phone. I had to bend down a little, and that's when he opened the door into my face after he had already punched me the first time and I was bending down. He opened the door into my face and
Okay.
injured me. My hand was injured, my face was injured, my back was injured.
Okay.
The
Thank you
back
very
is a re-injury, but it certainly exacerbated things.
Thank
And
you.
I have a lot of nerve problems because of that.
Dr. Donahue, you now have a 2-minute maximum for your summary statement.
Thank you. Cabrillo adheres to a see something, say something, do something policy relative to keeping the campus safe and using our just report it system. I do think it's a reasonable request that our custodial colleagues requested and asked James to not be in places where they've already cleaned. I think based on the evidence that James has presented, I appreciate that he takes great care in the environment and understands the custodial's job is to clean and keep things clean. I'm willing to drop the number 5, causing and attempting to cause damage to district property, but I am concerned that the custodians asked him to not be in a space and that he got verbally aggressive.
That's not true, though.
I am concerned that Deputy Malgosa actually tried to de-escalate the situation on a first.
Oh, yeah, right. He escalated it.
And then on the and had to return. And so the cease and desist did not help in de-escalating the situation. And I'm concerned about the confrontational aspects of the incident with our staff and with our officer. I have also experienced Mr. Vivian requesting that I resign my position immediately, at least 3 or 4 occasions, as I brought this case forward to a disciplinary process. I'm only responding to Deputy Malgosa's report and following process. So I wanted to add that I do believe that items 12, 14, 16, 18, and 19 have clearly been violated our code of conduct. Thank you.
Thank you. James, you now have a 2-minute maximum for a summary statement.
So I don't get to ask Dr. Donahue questions?
You already had the opportunity to do that when she gave her presentation. That was just her closing statement. And now you
But
get
I want 6 minutes.
you had your 6 minutes already. So now you get your 2 minutes to make any last statements.
Okay, it is absolutely not true that those janitors ever told me to stay out of a certain section of the cafeteria, ever. Okay, the only time that janitor ever talked to me, I was outside the cafeteria. It was around 8:45, maybe 8:35, and the only way, there's no posting of hours of any operation of on the cafeteria. The only way you can find out if it's open is to test the door, turn the doorknob and see if you can get in. So I did that. The same guy, I'm almost positive it was the same janitor who is the one who lied, violation of 148.5, and caused this false police report to be issued about me on December 5th. I am almost sure it was the same one. He appeared after I was jiggling the door knobs to see if any of them were open. He all of a sudden appeared at the door and started screaming at me, "It's closed, get out of here." I think he threatened to call the police or something. And later that night on campus, I was confronted by a guy who was driving a Cabrillo truck. I don't know his name. It was a white guy, like in his 30s maybe. And he said, "Well, you're making people on campus scared," or whatever he said, "because you're checking doors and you're casing buildings." I said, "The only you're looking in windows." I said, "The only window and door I looked in is the glass doors, which have windows above them at the cafeteria, checking to see if the cafeteria was open." That I told him that was about an hour earlier, because by the time that guy came, it was and told me that it was like 9:40. And these janitors are
The
a bunch
time
of
is up.
Thank you. This hearing is now closed as of 2:18. The panel will now adjourn to deliberate on the matter. The panel will make a recommendation to the administration, and you will receive the recommendation by email. In order to receive your disciplinary hearing outcome, you want to make sure that you have an updated email address in your student account, information account. Is that information current and updated?